Good morning, everybody. Orange A here with another Etheria restart video, and my hair looks like I just took a dog outside, which is what I did. But today we got the update to fix drop rates, not rates, but drops in general, get us more EXP to level up shells. So let's go ahead and look at that real quick. I've been background farming Nico Nana Inferno today while I was just, doing my morning routine and stuff like that. And you're getting these drops, the dream bas, these dream sheep. They do have an ability, they do come with matrix effects, but they are clearly bad and meant to just be recycled. Now, I farmed yesterday as well. So if we go to shells and go to recycle, I haven't recycled everything that I was farming yesterday, which means I still have a whole bunch of like the Twilight Knights and the Black Flags of the world to look at. So let's first compare. Let's look at like how much more EXP you get. So with Black Flag, if I was to recycle this, you'll see down here at the bottom, I would get 4,000 training data and 1 to 4 reconfiguration chips. With the Dream Ba, I would get 8,000 training data and 1 to 4 reconfiguration chips. So it's double the amount of EXP as like the Black Flags and the Twilight Knights. Overall, like in general, that is a buff. Now, what does a red one recycle for? 5,000. So it's even 3,000 more than a just red shell would recycle for. So overall, I think that in and of itself is a clear win, right? You get so many, and this is now we're going to get to that coin's about to flip over to the other side and we're going to talk about it. You get so many of these drops in these Inferno stages that's still not solved. And then even when you do get red shell drops, like there, that alicorn, trash. This white fang, trash. This white fang, trash. Like so far I've beaten an Inferno stage 6 times and I basically have nothing to show for it except for a little more training data than I would have gotten for doing the same thing yesterday. Okay, another run done, another yellow drop. And like I know people will post screenshots of how like 10 yellows or 9 yellows and 1 red. That doesn't happen the majority of the time. The fact that it can happen is a problem, but the majority of the time you're looking at between 4 to 5 reds and like 5 to 6 yellows. I do still think that needs an adjustment. Like that is clearly still not good enough. We need more red drops, and we need more red drops that have 3 matrix effects, because look, and again, I'm not here to like just dump all over this update. The devs said they were going to work towards making this system better, and this is a gigantic first step in that direction. A gigantic first step in that direction. The problem that we are still facing though is, let's look at, this is by far the stage I've farmed the most. So let's look at White Fang. White Fang, how many White Fang drops have I got? 1,000? I don't know, a bunch. I have 5 of them currently saved. By the way, I have 1 White Fang. Do I have 2 or 1? I think I just have 1 White Fang built. Where is it? Yeah, this one right here. So I have 1 White Fang built. I'm using it on my Messiah. If I was going to build another one, here's the keepers that I have. I have this one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So of the Inferno stage that I have farmed by far the most, I have 5 shells that like at some point I might think, hey, I might want to try one of those out. I have a ton of just like random ones here to use as fodder, and you do need fodder. Like we do need fodder if this system is not going to completely change, which I don't think it will, and I don't think it needs to completely change. We do still need some fodder, but you know what would also work for fodder? 3 matrix ones of these. If every one of these shells that dropped, or just a lot more of the shells that dropped, were 3 matrix, you have a much better chance of catching something like this. This is an example of an actual good White Fang. We have an 8-piece matrix set, we have a 12-piece matrix set, and we have that special matrix set, the 6-piece, the Fury Edge. This is like the perfect design. This is the one that you can like mold into something good. And in fact, this is a really good shell. Like if I was going to build another White Fang right now, it would probably look something along these lines. If you were stepping into Inferno farming for the first time, the first time you get one of these shells and you've gotten like a Fury Edge piece that's decent, it's such a step up in power in your account. And this is a game where you are constantly just stepping up in power a little bit at a time. And then over the course of days, as you continue to just like make those incremental steps in power, you notice like, hey, before I wasn't able to farm Doki Doki Inferno regularly. Now I can win 50% of the time. Great. And then you take that gear. Now you're better at farming Aurora. And now you're doing a little bit better in PvP. And you go back to Terramaton. And oh, now you're like 80% in there. And like, you just keep making these gradual steps. The buffs the nerfs they've done have been a big deal, especially the nerf. Like if we go in here, so okay, there's a run. 3 red, 7 yellows, and nothing is a keeper in there. I got 121,000 training data, and the rest of this will just be foddered off. So I come away with like 200k training data or something like that. Okay, you need all that, but let me continue. So the nerfs and buffs that they've done have been important, and I want to highlight especially the Nico Nana nerf, because Nico Nana is now to the point where like if we jump in here, my characters are wearing their PvP gear right now. I do not have to change out of PvP gear to farm this stage. I think I just bugged it out because whenever you join a fight as the boss just died, okay, it worked, thank God. It sometimes will bug out right there. But like my Yelly, my Rosa, my Mio, they are not wearing PvP gear. Now Valerian kind of just wears the same stuff all the time mostly, but this stage being beatable 10 out of 10 times while I'm wearing PvP stuff is such a quality of life improvement. And it's those kind of improvements that we need to keep seeing. Like, it's so much more convenient for me as somebody who again like works, kid, dog, wife, all yard, gotta vacuum the carpet, like all that stuff. I need a stage where like I can do PvP last night before I go to bed, wake up this morning and just start farming without having to like get on my computer and like, okay, I need to like, wait, set this gear up over here. And now I can't do PvP because like Mio's speed isn't right. And like, okay, I take all my gear off of Kaz, so I can't do that. Like, no, this is a big deal. So this is a big W, right? The drops, definitely still not a big W. We're getting more we're getting more EXP. That's good. And then lastly, like, I don't know that I will ever talk about this again without mentioning the next thing until it is better. So let's look at a shell. What kind of shell do I want to look at right here? So here's a shell. My Beyond Tin's wearing this shell. Here, okay, perfect. Here's a shell. This is an Alicorn shell. And like, I like this shell because Swift Rush, Bloodbath, and Swift Smite I love this combination for PvP of matrix effects. However, there's a whole lot of weirdness going on over here with the passive effects. Gaze, okay, I mean, if I'm running it on like on a CC character, I guess I can live with gaze, but like it doesn't really work for speed because it's a small buff at the end of your turn that stacks up over time. I don't like that. Shadow Dash 10. Shadow Dash 10 feels epically bad on a mythic tier shell. Like that is a purple passive. That is something you had on like blue tier shells back in the day. Like this needs to be yellow or red. Getting it there is too much pain. And then Animus Attack plus 26%. My God, the amount of shells I would love to have that on. Can you imagine the amount of shells that I would love to have red overclocking on? Whether it's 26 or 30, I take any of those on every one of my DPS shells. Basically, I would love to have that. Instead, I have this weird mix that doesn't go together at all. It's kind of just weird and awkward and ugh. So to actually make this shell good, I'd have to start taking my data, my training data, and I'm like, God, do I really want to get rid of attack plus 25%? I don't know. So I'd come over here and be like, well, let's try to roll better speed. No. And I'm like, you guys have seen me do this in so many videos so far. You just sit here, like healing plus 10% would be good on something maybe. No. Effect accuracy, no, I don't want that. Crit rate 12, no. Again, crit rate 12 with overclocking, kind of good, but this is not a shell for crit rate crit damage. This is a shell for speed, you know, effect accuracy character. And I could just sit here. I've already spent over 300,000 of my training data just looking for more than 10 speed, because this is on a character that if they don't go fast, what are they even doing for me? So look at how quickly I can undo all of this character EXP. And like, I haven't hit speed again at all. Like I quite literally have yet to hit speed again. Even a worse speed score I haven't hit. I'm just gonna waste it all. Like, here it is. This is like, look, there's worse speed. Okay, at least I accomplished that goal. -1 speed. That's clearly what I was going for. And like, you end up, look, I don't know. I'm just sitting here in a daze at how terrible this is. I just spent, like, look at this, effect accuracy 25. Man, there's probably shells out there that I'd really like to have that on. Not this one. Reconfigure it. Boom. Boom. Are we out yet? Last roll. We didn't get it. So I spent all of my training data, all of it, and I didn't move off of speed 10. You could potentially get 10 more speed on this shell if you roll it, but I would have taken 17. I would have taken anything more than 10. And like, it doesn't matter at this, like, okay, let me just say 2 things. Thing 1, the buff today matters. It gives us more EXP, and that's great. Infinite throw, like, how many times would I've had to roll there to get more speed? And that's just like, I'm not talking, by the way, like, I'm not sitting at rank 1 in arena or something like that, right? Like, I'm sitting at diamond. I'm floating around mid diamond, which is just like what I've done for a week. And do you know when I lose? Like, here's my #1 way of losing a match. They have a Tsukiyomi or Lily that they stick into the protective slot. I can't pick that away from them because I don't have those 2 characters. So they protected slot Tsukiyomi or Lily. It has more speed than my fastest character, or has less speed than my fastest crowd control character, but is wearing like bulwark or something. And then it turn boosts their DPS character that obliterates my team. That's my most common way of losing. How can I fix that? Well, one way would be like having more speed. That was me trying to get more speed. That was me trying to get more speed. And like, that just shouldn't be as RNG as it is. There's already enough RNG on the module section of this game, but like, the fact that it's just, there is such a straightforward, okay, I think I've ranted about that enough. I think I've gone on and on. This is going to be a short video. It's now like 12 minutes long, and it's mostly just me complaining about RNG again. Hey, TLDR, good step forward today. More EXP is a good thing. We need it. We need it too much. We need it too much. It would not hurt your game to allow us to have more shells that are built out and usable. It would make the PvP meta more vibrant because you're not locked in to just like the 2 or 3 shells you're lucky enough to have good passive rolls on. You would see a more diverse character roster, which again, I think just makes the game more fun, and that should be the goal, make the game more fun. Okay, thank y'all for watching. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.